Well, that's good to know we're not the only couple with issues.
Honey, are you sure you need more wine?
The neighbors come over for an awkward barbecue, and it might be trouble in paradise again for Stef and Lena on this episode of The Fosters. Let's break it down right here on What Happened. Sup everyone, and welcome back to another recap of The Fosters. Today it's all about Season 5, Episode 5, titled Telling. Because, well, there's a lot of people telling people things in this episode. Sometimes things that are hard to hear but need to be heard, and other times it's people clearing up some lies they've been keeping. So let's just get this recap started. Also, Jude fans, I'm sorry, but this is another episode without any sign of Jude. Come on, Fosters, I need a little bit of Judicorn in my life. First up, let's talk about Brandon and Grace and Courtney. Courtney and Mason are still living in the garage while Gabe is away, and Brandon and Court take a minute to chat where Court fills him in that she's now bar manager at the smokehouse, and then she asks him if he's seeing anyone. Brandon says yes, but they're taking things slow, and then Court apologizes for all the things she said to him at the end of last season when they had that fight. Now poor Grace, she still has no idea that Courtney is staying in the garage, and I'm pretty sure she's not going to be too happy about it when she finds out. Brandon and Grace go to the roller derby fundraiser party with Callie and do some pretty cringe-worthy dancing. However, I can't dance either, so I'm pretty sure I would have looked worse. When the band takes a break, they invite anyone who wants to play to get up on stage. So who goes on stage? Brandon and Grace. Yeah, they take the stage to perform a song they wrote, which actually sounds good. It's just a bad thing it's a slow song at a party, and it just kills the mood, and the crowd disperses. They are not impressed. Brandon and Grace, however, are proud of what they did, and when they return back to the house, Grace says they should put together an actual set and do that again, just at a more friendly venue. Their happy time, though, is interrupted by Steph, who delivers Brandon some bad news. While Courtney and Mason were sleeping in the garage, Gabe returned home, and well, it's gotta be pretty shocking to turn on your light and see a woman and her kids sleeping in your bed.
Oh my God.
Brandon tells Steph that they can sleep in his room tonight and he'll sleep on the couch, and that's probably not the way Brandon wanted Grace to find out about this whole situation. He tells Grace that Courtney and Mason will be gone tomorrow, but poor Brandon, it's one thing to be a nice guy, but it's another to be more of a pushover and a people pleaser. Like, that can really get you into some trouble. Later, Gabe insists that Courtney and Mason actually keep the garage for the week until her apartment is ready and he can just couch surf with his buddies. When they ask Brandon if that's okay, Brandon at first looks like he wants to say no, but then he just says sure. I honestly don't know how much longer Grace is really gonna put up with all of this, and Brandon just keeps lying to her. And yeah, I get he's trying to do kind of the right thing, but he just doesn't see all the trouble he is causing. Let's move on to Callie. She's on the UCSD campus when Ximena invites her to a roller derby party, but tells her not to tell Mariana because she doesn't want her little sister Poppy to show up too, since there's going to be drinking and everything like that. It's pretty interesting since Callie's actually only a year older than Mariana, who can't legally drink either, so why doesn't she want her little sister there? Callie then gets stopped by a guy who's named Sean or John. My ears couldn't really figure out which one it was, but he asked her to sign a petition to keep an anti-immigration reform expert from speaking on campus. Callie's trying to keep a low profile, so she kind of just brushes him off and rushes away. She actually ends up running into Sean again at the party because he's a friend of Ximena's, and he invites her to the quad the next day where they're holding a meeting, and if she wants to really care about the issues, she should show up. At the roller derby party, the cops show up trying to shut down the party, and Ximena is verbally fighting with them, saying she has a permit and everything. The cops aren't budging though, and they bring up, do you have a permit to sell alcohol? Is everybody here over 21? And Ximena just keeps saying, we have a permit to be here. It's fine. You can't break this party up. Well, Poppy, who snuck into the party, is trying to keep Ximena from doing anything rash, and Callie and Poppy finally get Ximena to leave, and the party does get shut down. When Callie drops Ximena off at home, she brings up how Poppy seems scared that Ximena might get arrested, so she asks if maybe she's on probation or something. Ximena reveals that she's actually undocumented, and her DACA, or Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival, just expired. She's supposed to reapply and her parents want her to, but she doesn't want to because if she does, the form will have all her information on it, including her address, and the government will know where to find her and her parents. Callie tells her there's a difference between being brave and stupid, even if you're right. Now it seems like Callie's trying to take advice people have given her, and she's trying to kind of stay out of trouble from the things that she's done in the past 4 seasons. However, when Ximena asks Callie why she didn't sign Sean's petition, Callie says she's just trying to fly under the radar right now. And Ximena says staying silent doesn't sound brave to me either. Ximena has to fight for her right to be here, so she's not going to stay silent. Now both of them make good points, and the conversation resonates with Callie as she does show up to the quad the next day and sits down right next to Ximena and asks how she can help with the whole situation. So just as I was sitting thinking about the Fosters having tackled so many issues and honestly what's left for them to address, it seems like immigration is a topic that will be tackled and is actually really relevant right now. Next up, let's discuss Mariana and Jesus. Now I'm going to do them kind of together in a chunk. Mariana is still keeping her roller derby secret and trying desperately to impress Logan, the boy next door. So much so that she agrees to go for a run with him.
I'm a runner too.
Since when?
Since I've been getting in really good shape.
He's going running with the boy next door.
You don't run.
Why does everyone keep saying that?
Anyway, after returning from the run, Mariana tells Logan about the roller derby team, and he gives her some advice for how to tell the moms about it. He says make it their idea. Mariana then says she and Poppy and some friends are going to crash the roller derby party, and she invites him. During this time, Jesus and Emma are up in his room talking, and he tells her that he and Brandon are good, everything seems to be back on track, and that he really wishes he could have been there for Emma. Now it looks like these two are back on good terms since the last episode, as they share a kiss, but then Jesus tells Emma that he's planning on getting his GED and working with Gabe. And from Emma's facial expressions, it seems like she doesn't really approve of this plan. During the barbecue with the neighbors, Mariana says she and Logan have to leave to go see a movie, and Jesus says, you know, can I come along? Mariana tries to convince him to not come, but Jesus keeps insisting, and the moms eventually agree to let him go. Now Mariana tells him that they're not actually going to a movie, they're going to a party, which Jesus is like, oh hey, this is even better. When she continues to tell him he can't go, he's like, well, you know what, if you don't let me go, I'm going to tell moms where you're really going. At the party, Mariana tells Jesus no drinking and no dancing. When Poppy asks Mariana who she came with, she says, oh, my brother and Logan, my future boyfriend. And well, everything just seems to kind of go wrong at this party as Callie ends up seeing them, Jesus does go bust some moves, and Mariana sees Logan dancing with, well, another girl. Oh, and footage of the roller derby team is playing on the big screen, and Callie and Jesus see Mariana in the footage. When the cops come to shut the party down, Jesus and Mariana run into the alley, but they seem to have lost Logan. Jesus then has a seizure, which freaks Mariana out. When he stops having his little seizure, he doesn't remember where he is. And then Mariana says she needs to tell the moms, but Jesus is like, you can't tell them, they'll never let me leave the house again or do anything, and then he blackmails Mariana into keeping her mouth shut. Back at the house, Mariana finally has a come-to-Jesus moment thanks to Callie. Callie tells Mariana she's selfish and a liar, and she's lied about the roller derby team, the party, Poppy, and that she took Jesus to a party just so she could have a date with Logan, basically implying she didn't care if she put her brother in danger as long as she got to hang out with the cute guy. Mariana then tells Callie, well, she's a liar too, but Callie snaps back saying, at least when I lie, it's to do something to help someone. Burn. Callie also tells Mariana, don't be surprised if this blows up in your face again. It's finally someone putting Mariana in her place, and it seems to have worked as Mariana goes downstairs and tells Lena the truth about the roller derby team and Jesus having a seizure at the party. Later, Mariana and Logan are talking, and she tells him that Lena's going to talk to Steph about the whole roller derby thing, but she is grounded. She then asks him if he got in trouble with his parents, and he's like, no, but I did get in trouble. With my girlfriend. She saw a picture of him dancing with another girl on Instagram. So it turns out that Logan has a girlfriend back in Baltimore, and they're doing this whole long distance thing until they graduate and can go to Syracuse together. I have a feeling though that this long distance thing isn't going to work out. I mean, he was already photoed dancing with some girl at a party. Mariana does look a little heartbroken, but I think she's not going to give up on him yet. For Jesus, when Lena goes to confront him about the party, he blows up again. Lena has been working hard to try to figure out ways to help Jesus, but Jesus is so angry that he can't go do anything. Lena then grounds Jesus, saying no one can come over, he can't leave the house, and even Emma can't come over because there have to be consequences for the actions Jesus actually can control. Jesus is even more pissed now and picks up something to throw it, and Lena is like, you better not throw that. If you throw that, and then Jesus is like, oh, what are you gonna do? Lena then tells him if they have to, they'll put him in an inpatient program for intense behavioral therapy, and it seems like Lena has made her point. Now what's up with Steph and Lena? Well, it seems their marriage is on the rocks again. Steph is drowning herself in work while Lena is trying to figure out various ways to help Jesus, like maybe a holistic approach or shock therapy of some sort. And the neighbors are also really not helping with the relationship tensions in this episode. So Steph has a new case where she's trying to find a guy who is sexually exploiting young boys, a lot of who come from the LGBT center where Cole works. Steph seems to think that maybe Patrick Malloy has something to do with all of this. Now, if you don't remember who he is, he's a witness from Kyle's case that works at a car wash whose charges of child molestation were magically dropped. Steph ends up getting a hard drive from a kid named Josh who doesn't know the perp's name but describes him pretty well. It looks like there's a lot of videos of minors on that drive, and Steph goes in on her day off while Lena thinks it's an on-call day to work on the case. She even goes over to Patrick Malloy's house, and she doesn't have a search warrant, so she can't really do anything legally. She watches Patrick drive off, and then she goes up to his front door and sees his computer in his window, and she starts fiddling with it, and then maybe it seems like she's going to pull a Callie and kind of break in. As she's fiddling with that window though, Patrick shows back up and is like, "What are you doing here? Who are you?" Steph lies, saying she thought it was her friend's place, and runs off. Now Steph is drowning herself in work and lying to Lena about it, and it's just one of the many things causing tension, like I said in this episode. Some of the other reasons come courtesy of the neighbors. Now Lena still doesn't seem to like Tess much, but Tess and Logan show up on the family's front door with a bottle of wine, inviting them over for a barbecue. Now I feel like Lena was gonna try to decline this invitation, but unfortunately for her, Mariana suddenly appears and says, "Yeah, we'll be there." Also, like I said, Lena and Steph are still disagreeing on what to do about Jesus. And Lena brings up maybe, the gluten-free diet or going to the neurologist, but Steph is just shooting all these ideas down. Later, Lena gets another knock on the door, and this time it's Dean saying that their gas was for some reason turned off, and can they borrow their oven and stove and finish making the dinner there. They also end up having the barbecue in the Foster's Adams backyard. During the dinner, we find out Logan is going to St. Mary's. Tess thinks college is where you really make the friendships that stick, and Steph really loves wine. Plus, there's also some trouble, it seems like, in Dean and Tess's marriage. And just when you think that Lena and Tess are actually bonding, Tess says something that ruins it. Lena's running ideas for helping Jesus by her, and Tess seems to agree with all of them, and even says she can put in a call to that neurologist because they actually went to school together. But then Tess opens her big mouth.
"I think it's courageous how you live an alternative lifestyle."
Yep, just as Dean pointed out, Tess really does have a lot of foot-in-mouth moments. Now, Steph and Dean are talking out back, and when these two are talking, Dean asks Steph what really happened between Tess and her in high school. It seems like it's always been bothering Tess, and she wonders what she did wrong. Steph tells Dean that she did nothing wrong, they were just at the age when they make new friends, and I'm calling BS on Steph for this excuse. Dean asks Steph if maybe she can tell Tess all of this because it would mean a lot to Tess. Now, when Steph returns home from her on-call day, she's busted because Lena called the office and learned that it was actually Steph's day off. Lena points out that Steph keeps drowning herself in work and keeps going off to save all the kids of the world, but there's a kid that's at home that needs saving, and Lena's doing everything by herself. They end up having a moment. Steph apologizes and they hug it out, and then the episode ends with the two of them going up to Jesus' room, sitting on his bed together, and just in silence hugging. So hopefully everything is gonna be okay. Okay, so I'm gonna say that the promo for this episode hyped that party up and made it seem like it was gonna be way more dramatic than it actually was. This episode actually wasn't too, I guess, really thrilling, but it really did set up for storylines we're going to see play out in the rest of this, season, or first half of the season. We have Steph's case, we have, Patrick Malloy being back, we have the immigration storyline with Callie and Ximena, and then there's the whole thing with what to do with Jesus as far as his treatment goes. However, I am still sitting here wondering what on earth Jude is doing during these episodes, because he wasn't even at the family dinner with the neighbors. Are they really letting him go off and do things with Noah and whatever when they keep such a tight rope on all the other kids? You'd think since Jude is the youngest, he'd be the one on the tightest leash. I'm honestly just sitting here waiting for him to get a good storyline. And well, speaking of storylines, it seems like he actually might get one in the next episode. So the synopsis for the next episode says Callie is torn with turning over a new leaf or supporting a cause that means a lot to her, while Jude and Taylor begin making gaming videos that earn them unwanted notoriety. Steph also makes major headway with her case. Now let's roll the actual promo video for this episode.
Tuesday.
You look snazzy.
Snazzy?
I'm gonna change then.
Critics rave. If you're not watching Freeform's The Fosters, you know nothing.
So you're gonna arrest me?
If I have to.
Seriously?
It's time for a little tough love around here.
See why the New York Times asks, how is this show so good?
You into hate speech? I'm into free speech.
I am exercising my right to peacefully resist, okay? So please do not patronize me.
Okay, it's time to hit the comments or my socials and let me know what your favorite or least favorite part of this week's episode. Which storyline are you excited to see progress more, and are you happy that Mariana finally came clean, at least about some of the stuff? Let me know, and then you can check out more of my recent recaps right over here, and be sure to subscribe and hit that thumbs up like button. I'm Lisa, thanks for watching.